Hello, my name is Steven Citas and I head the development team at alpha360.biz. This is the first video of a series of videos introducing version 1.0 of the alpha360 ERP, both the commercial and the open source version. You can follow this video with one of our commercial versions or with the open source version. If you are already a commercial subscriber, you have received instructions on how to download your version. If you are an open source developer, you can go to our website at the resources downloads area and download the open source version. I have already created on my disk a directory called alpha360. It can be whatever name you want. Just don't make this directory on a place where you have limited access, like say the desktop. Then you will have problems with the WEBDEV implementation. Inside alpha360 directory, I just have the zip file which contains one of the commercial or the open source versions of the ERP. On my C disk, I also have made a structure to hold my classic data files. Here is the structure I'm using. You can make any structure you want, but it's easier to use this one so you can follow up the video. Now, let's go to our WINDEV 21, go to Tools, go to Restore a Project, select our zip file, tell the IDE where we want to install the ERP. I'll use the same directory. And it's done. It may take a little, but after that everything will be fine. Now we can open our project. Just note that I did a little cheating because the first time it takes a little longer to open the project because it has to compile things etc. So just to win some time, I did it offline on my computer. Now I have already opened my WINDEV 32-bit Windows executable configuration. This project actually has two configurations, a 32-bit Windows executable and a WEBDEV implementation. When you open the project with WINDEV 21, you can work on the 32-bit Windows executable. When you open it with the WEBDEV 21 IDE, then you can work on the web configuration. Let's run it. Now this is our login screen. From here we can choose which database we are going to use. Right now we support a classic HFSQL database and client-server HFSQL database. You will have to go to the tabs here to the classic connection to tell him where the data directory for the classic database is. Or go here and tell him more information about your client-server connection, your server address, your database, your user, your password of the user, etc. Remember that it is easier to work at the beginning with the classic HFSQL database, and the user is admin and the password is admin, the default. So just let us log in. there were no data in our classic HFSQL database, so the first time it creates some demo data. Not complete demo data, but let's see what it has done. This is the message area where it says that it connected to a classic database, it created a license record, a license ID, this is the version, it created various language records, we will see more about this in other videos. It created a record for the company, for the configuration, and it created a default fiscal year based on the date that we told the computer has as a default. Everything else has no other default data has been added to the database. So the first thing we do is go to the administration area, go to the company setup, go to a procedure that is called example data, and this is just a simple procedure that adds some data so we can work with the ERP in our first tries. Usually you can leave this procedure inside your own ERP implementation, but don't forget to extend it with a wizard or any other type of setup you would like. So let's make some example data, and that's it. We are ready now to work on our alpha360 ERP implementation. I'm not going to spend any time to show you around the user interface of this version, mainly because most of you have already seen it in versions previous to version 1.0. Just remember that you can change the user interface from here, Preferences and the User Interface combo. Also, you can hit this little icon here to hide the menu and make a bigger working area on your PC. Now let's go on with a few things about the administration area. The administration area is the area where we set up our implementation. It has, among others, the dimension tables. Everything in our ERP is either a dimension table or a fact table. Let's see a few of the dimension tables and how they are used to set up our company. Let's go first to the company record. Here we can see that we have added our main currency, the branches of the company, the warehouses, and to which branch they belong to. This is a diagram that shows visually our company. It has one POS, one main warehouse, and a central branch, and this is the default company. Now, so we can go and use the POS system, we have to do some simple setup steps. The first thing we are going to do is go to the sales area, to the lists, to the customers, and let's go and add a customer that we will call retail. This is a customer. At the customer tab, we don't need any customer grouping. He is a less local customer posting. Customer area, we don't care. Sales terms, we don't care, but it's not important now. The price list, we are going to use the retail price list, and we are going to add this party. We need this party so we can use it when we set up our POS. So let's close this now. Let's go to the administration area again. Let's go to the business objects, select sales, go to the sales POS. This is a business object that is going to be used by the POS. Let's go and add it. Give it a name, just sales POS. We want it to post automatically. We want to automatically post to the general ledger. We want to use this general ledger journal. It's in our default branch, our default department. Nothing else. We don't want anything. And we add it. That's it. We now can use it when we do the setup of a POS system. When we created sample data, we already created a POS system called POS number 1. Let's see. When we are going to use this POS system, we are going to connect it to a business object. This is the one, the sales POS. This is the department. This is the default customer, the default sale terms. We said it doesn't mean something important right now. We save it. Okay. So now we can go to sales. We can go to the retail sales workflow. We can go and select the POS, the document, and everything is ready to work. Now, before we go and see the WEBDEV implementation, let's run around a full sales cycle to see how the system actually works and how coherent it is. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to add a product. Remember, these are dimension tables, and we have added them with the example data automatically when we ran the procedure. The product posting, we are in a VAT company where we have various VATs. We can have 13%, 24%, and mix them for products and for services. Groups, we don't have anything. Price list, we don't have anything. We also support consignment trade if you want to. Manufacturing, manufacture, distribution, each, and we are going to give it a wholesale price of 100 euros. Okay. We are going to add another customer. We are going to use the VAT ID. A VIS server that's available in Europe only. This is a wrong one. Okay, that's it. That's us. Okay, it's a customer. I have to give it various settings. No, from the wholesales, add, and it's okay. We have added a customer. So let's go and see the sales cycle. Well, a complete sales cycle would be we do a quote, an order, a shipment, or an invoice. I'm going to start from a shipment and then go to invoice because it's actually the same. Let's go to the shipments area. I'm going to go to add a shipment. This is a business object of type sales shipments. They have been already added by our example data, but you can add it the same way we did the sales POS. And you can have multiple sales shipment business objects, meaning different numbering, etc. We're going to select the customer, or we can use the F2 key to do a select. This is the customer. This is the customer branch. I have not added any branches to this customer. Everything else comes default from the customer record. The customer posting, the sales terms, of course I can change it. Document, address, shipment. Since it's a shipment, what is the purpose of the shipment? It's a sales. I go to product services. I'm going to select this product here. It's got a quantity of 1, and you see the unit base price has come automatically from the customer's price list. This doesn't matter because it is a sales shipment or not. It will carry, if we want, sales prices also. This is the tax that has not been calculated. It's not going to, let me go a little further and tell it after a little. Now let's add it. Now this is not posted and its workflow has not been completed. Let's post it. Okay, so it has been posted. The tax lines are not really actual tax lines, they are just virtual tax lines. Let's see what happened to the inventory ledger. It has posted to the inventory ledger and it knows how much of the quantity has not been invoiced yet. So let's go to the next step, to the invoices. Let's add an invoice. It's a sales invoice. I'll select the customer. I go to the workflow. I refresh it, and this is an open sales shipment. I just select it and copy it. Everything has come from the sales shipment, and I add it. It hasn't been posted yet. I could have told the business object to automatically post, but I have left this one on manual post. Let's go and post it. It has been posted successfully. It has used the workflow, so let's go and see what happened to the shipments. The shipments has this flag workflow completed, and in the inventory ledger the quantity has not invoiced is now 0. So this is a simple workflow from shipments to invoices. The databases, the alpha360 data models also support workflow from invoices to sales shipments. Now, the only thing that hasn't been done yet on the invoice, it has not been posted to accounting. So if we want to go and post it to the accounting, we go here to the General Ledger tab, hit the options, send to GL, and it's done. We can now see here what kind of post did he do to the General Ledger. So this invoice has posted to the inventory ledger, to the account receivable ledger, to the general ledger, and of course it could have had automatic payment either with cash or checks, but this one doesn't have it, so it doesn't have any cash lines. If we go to accounting now, go to the accounting workflow and go to GL batches, we see that the GL batch has been posted automatically from sales, and this is the original ID, and this is the one that, and these are the GL batch lines. So this completes the introduction of the WINDEV implementation, and we are now going to see how things work in the WEBDEV implementation. Now let's go on and see the WEBDEV configuration. I have once again cheated, and I have already opened it once the first time on my PC, because the first time you will open it under WEBDEV it will take some time, but after that everything will be quick. Of course it depends on your PC. So let's go and open the project. Sorry. And now we see that the default configuration we are working on is the alpha360 web. If you don't feel familiar with dual configuration WINDEV WEBDEV project, please take some time to educate yourself. The first thing you must understand is that you can have a project in the way that we work with a simple project, is to open the 32-bit Windows executable, work on it, close it, and then you can open the web configuration. You cannot have both the IDs open, pointing to the same project. The other important thing to note is that when we started to develop the WEBDEV implementation, we were thinking of doing a completely independent implementation, because we thought that it would be too difficult to combine in one project both the versions. But the ID is really incredible. 99% of our code, or 100% of our business processes, 100% of the data analysis, and even 99% of our user interface code is the same across both versions. Just before diving into the configuration, familiarize yourself with how these things work in the WINDEV and WEBDEV IDEs. So, let's go and run it. Now, the preferred browser is Chrome. Everything works better on Chrome and WebDev. If you're going to work on another web browser, be careful. It depends on which version you are working. Edge seems to be a little faster than every other browser we have tested, but it has problems with anchoring. It seems like PCSoft is working on Chrome and everything works better there. So just let us use the defaults, and we will get back to the users, the passwords and things like that. We go to a connect, and this is the implementation on the WebDev. Note we have tried to make the user interface as same as possible between the two versions, but this is not possible 100%. So when we choose on the menu on the left something, we have a working area up here. So let's select inventory, and the working area is here. So let's go to products and services, and here is the part with the products and services. Remember that they share a common database, so whatever we added the previous session, we must have it here. So let's refresh. Here is our product. Let's do an edit. This is the edit form. Everything looks quite the same. Let's add a new product. Let's give it an ID, product 2. Now we have combos here. And we added. It showed the product that we just added. It's by setup like this. If we want to see all the products again, these are all the products. Everything else is quite the same. Let's go and see the accounting area. This is the GL accounts. We didn't see them in the WINDEV implementation, but they are the same. Here are the batches. This is the batch we added before. Let's try and change it. it says that the batch has been posted and cannot be edited. We must unpost the batch and then we can edit it. It seems like this video has taken some time, more than I had anticipated, and I'm going to stop now because I want to talk about a couple of things, especially the open source version versus the commercial version. If you are using one of the open source versions, versions 1.0 or a newer one, please note that although both of them have the WINDEV and the WEBDEV configuration, the open source version has only the accounting and the sales cycle functionality. It does not have any purchases, any productions, it does not have any reports, or it has some a few only reports. It doesn't have all the administration area procedures, etc. So if you really want to work on a commercial version ERP, remember that we are having a special offer until the end of August 31, 2017. And since now you can have and work with the WINDEV and WEBDEV version, although limited, you can now see for yourself if you want to get the commercial version. Just a few moments to give you some insight in the way the code actually is done. Let's go again to the WEBDEV ERP. Let's stop this one here. Now on the project pane on this area, let's take a look at the queries. Let's take a look at one query. If you go and see configurations, you will see that this query belongs to both the configurations. This is the same things happens to the reports and the same things happen to the procedures. This means that you can edit, say, any procedure either through the WINDEV IDE or the WEBDEV IDE. The only thing you need to work with WEBDEV other pages, because as you see they belong only to the web configuration, and the Windows, they belong to the 32-bit Windows executable. So if you try to open it from WEBDEV, they will not open, or you will be asked to close the WEBDEV IDE, and maybe automatically the WINDEV IDE will open your window. Very important is the project code. And don't forget this important note here. We have tried to document every single line of our code. Maybe we have overdone it, but I think it can be easy for anybody with a simple understanding of the WINDEV language to understand what we are doing. One more thing about how to set up your environment. Let's go to the options. I think it's somewhere here because I lose it sometime. Let's go to the general. Okay. We always force the flash on. That is because during the early days of WEBDEV 21, we had many problems. We had an ID that was freezing, but those days are off. But if we didn't have forced the flash on, we sometimes had our project destroyed. So it's a good thing to always force it. Something else that we do, especially when we are in areas where there are the internet is not that good, we turn off, I think it's somewhere here, I cannot always find it immediately. Okay, we don't turn on telemetry because sometimes it causes problems when we do not have very good internet access. And let's go and see a complicated business procedure. Let me find one in the sales area, in the sales, and let's see this one. Okay. Now, let's go up here in the display area, in the code area, and it has collapse all. No. This is the way we work, and we use the ID to educate our internal developers. Here are the steps. You see how folding works. It is very easy to understand what a programmer does, but it has a problem. If you try to do editing when you are in this mode, sometimes the ID gets confused and it starts to delete lines anarchically. So whenever we go and edit things like that, we go to the code, we go to the collapsible code, and then we go to expand all. Now it is safe to work in the IDE. And I have to stop this first video somewhere here because I was anticipating a 5-minute video, so I don't lose my audience, but it, as usual, took up more time than I wanted. Just remember that in a few days you will be able to go to our new site. It is already there. It has a support forum, it has a blog, it has a new design, it has a HTTPS certificate, but that is really the problem. DNS with a combination with an HTTPS certificate, it takes 2 or 3 days from our cloud provider. So definitely in 2 or 3 days everything will be set up, and you can visit our site, download the products, the open source or your commercial version, and we would like to hear from you any comments. Thank you very much. Until next time.